Howdy folks, it's Jackson here again. So this chapter is from chapter 5, section 3, and it's has to do with X-intercepts and the quadratic formula. So if we have like an equation, we'll just say y equals 3x squared plus 13x plus 7. Finding the y-intercept is pretty easy because all you got to do is substitute 0 in for x. So when you do that, you just get y equals 7. So the y-intercept will be at 0, 7. Finding the x-intercepts is a little bit harder because you got to set y equal to 0. So when we do that, we're going to get 0 equals 3x squared plus 13x plus 7. And to solve this, we need to use what is called the quadratic formula, which you probably have learned in Algebra 1, but we're going over it again. So the quadratic formula is going to be x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. And this is when we have the form y equals a x squared plus bx plus c, where a, b, and c are coefficients. So using the quadratic formula to find the x-intercepts here, we're just going to go x equals and then negative b, so it's going to be negative 13 plus or minus the square root of 13 squared, which is 169. Minus 4, it's going to be 4 times 3 times 7. I already got that worked out. It's, oh wait, no I don't, never mind. Minus 4 times 3 times 7 is 4ac. All over 2a, so that's going to be all over 2 times 3. And then just evaluating this expression, we're going to get x equals negative 13 plus or minus the square root of, and then this part comes out to 85 over 6. And from this point, 85 isn't a perfect square, so it's gonna be an irrational solution. So basically, when you multiply and divide, evaluate all that out, you're gonna get x equals negative 0.63 or x equals negative 3.7. And so what this says is that the x-intercepts of this quadratic equation are negative 0.630 and negative 3.70. Whoops. 3.70. So the quantity that appears under the radical in the quadratic formula, b squared minus 4ac, is called the discriminant. The reason we call it the discriminant is because basically, depending on what this value is, it discriminates like what kind of solutions you're going to get for the quadratic formula. So basically, if you just perform b squared minus 4ac and that value is positive, then basically the equation is going to have real solutions. If b squared minus 4ac is negative, then we're going to have imaginary solutions. And because basically that gets us a negative number under the radical, and taking the square root of a negative number gets you an imaginary solution. And finally, if b squared minus 4ac is a perfect square, like 9, 4, 16, that means we're going to get rational solutions. Because basically that those are numbers that you would be able to write as fractions. So now we have y equals x squared minus 5x plus 3, and we want to find the vertex, the x-intercepts, and the y-intercept. So finding the vertex, we're going to want to transform it into vertex form. So remember, to do that, you got to first bring the 3 over to get all the x terms by themselves. So we'll have y minus 3 plus some constant, so I'm going to leave a little room there, equals x squared minus 5x. And then when we're adding the constant here, remember we're going to take this b term, -5, divided by 2 and square it. So that's -5 halves squared, so that's -25 fourths. So minus 25 over 4. And since we're adding it to this side, we also have to do the same over here. So we get minus 25 over 4. And then simplifying this, we're going to get y. I just realized that this should have been positive 25 fourths because you're squaring -5 halves. So we have positive 25 fourths over here too. Sorry about that. So y, and then adding these together, we're going to get y plus 3.25 equals, and then getting this into like the squared form, remember it's going to be x, and then it's going to be this basically the b over 2. So that's going to be minus 2.5 squared. And so that means that the vertex is going to be at 2.5, negative 3.25. And then for finding the x-intercepts, we're going to need to use the quadratic formula. So to do that, we're going to, remember, it's going to be x equals negative b, which here is going to be positive 5, then plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is going to be 25, minus 4ac, which is going to be 4 times 1 times 3, and then all over 2a. So that's going to be just 2. And it's 2 times 1. And then multiplying and square rooting, doing all these operations, you're going to just get x equals 4.30, just 30, or 0.69. So now we know the x-intercepts are going to be at 4.30, 0, and 0.690. And finally, finding the y-intercept, that's pretty easy. You just gotta substitute 0 in for x, so that's just going to get you y equals 3. So the y-intercept is going to be at 0, 3. So there's actually going to be an easier way to figure out the vertex than transforming the equation into vertex form. So first thing that you should notice is that in any parabola, the vertex is going to be halfway between the two x-intercepts. So really what that means is that the x-coordinate of the vertex is the average of the two intercepts. So let's say then we got the equation y equals, and we're just going to go x squared plus bx plus c. So the x-intercepts here are going to be x equals negative b plus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And the other x-intercept is going to be x equals negative b minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So now if we're taking the average, what we would do with these x coordinates is add them together and then divide by 2. But when we add these together, the b squared minus 4ac, it's going to cancel out because we have a positive over here and a negative over here. So adding them together, we're going to get negative 2b. So yeah, negative 2b over 2a. But then we're going to divide that by 2. But really the 2 is going up here, and these 2's cancel right here. So the vertex is going to be given by the formula. We're going to say h, which is going to be the x-coordinate of the vertex, is negative b over 2a. So yeah, all you really need to take from that is that the x-coordinate of the vertex, which we're going to call h, equals negative b over 2a. So let's now use this shortcut and to find the vertex of the equation y equals 7x squared minus 29x plus 37. So to find the x-coordinate of the vertex, we're going to say that h equals negative b, which is going to be, so it's going to be the negative fraction, and then b, which is 29 over, negative 29, sorry. Negative 29 over 2a, which is here we're going to have 2 times 7. So this is going to equal, it's going to be about 2.07. And so now we have the x-coordinate of the vertex, and all we have to do to find the y-coordinate now is just substitute this in for x. So we're going to say the y-coordinate k is going to equal 7 times 2.07 squared minus 29 times 2.07 plus 37. So then k equals 6.96. So now we know that the vertex is going to be the point 2.07, 6.96.